Five Nights at Freddy's. Well, where do I start with this one? I have to say, I wasn't expecting much from this game going in. I mean, it's just another one of those sheep jump scare games, right? But boy, was I wrong. First of all, the graphics in Five Nights at Freddy's are simple, but they get the job done. The characters are creepy enough to make you feel uneasy, and the limited lighting adds to the overall atmosphere of the game. But the real star of the show here is the sound design. The creepy music, the jump scares, man, it's all so effective. And the sound cues are what really make the game work. You're always on edge, waiting for the next jump scare to hit you. However, despite all the good things I've just said, the gameplay itself is just me. You're basically just sitting in a room waiting for something to jump out at you. And when it does, you have to close the door or turn on the lights. That's it. It's not exactly what I'd call fun. And then there's the whole story of the game. It's just a bunch of nonsense about murdered children and haunted animatronics. It's all so nonsensical and poorly put together that it's almost comical. In conclusion, if you're a fan of cheap jump scare games, then Five Nights at Freddy's might be up your alley. But if you're looking for a well-designed game with solid gameplay, then this is not the game for you. The sound design and jump scares might be effective, but the overall gameplay and story leave a lot to be desired. Sonic Adventure for the Sega Dreamcast. Man, what a game. I have to say, I was pretty skeptical about this one going in. I mean, it's a 3D Sonic game, and we all know how those have gone in the past. But I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by this one. First of all, the graphics in this game are top-notch. The Dreamcast was ahead of its time in terms of graphics capabilities, and Sonic Adventure really shows off what the system was capable. The characters and environments are well detailed and colorful, and there's a ton of variety in the different levels you play through. And the gameplay is just as good. The controls are tight and responsive, and there is a good mix of action and platforming elements. The levels are well designed and offer a good challenge, but they are not so hard that they are frustrating. And let's not forget about the music. The soundtrack of this game is just fantastic. From the upbeat and energetic tracks to the more atmospheric and emotional pieces, the music really adds to the overall experience of the game. Overall, I have to say that Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast is a fantastic game. The graphics are top-notch, the gameplay is solid, and the music is fantastic. If you're a fan of Sonic or just looking for a good 3D platformer, then this is the game for you. I highly recommend it. Benny and the Ink Mansion. What the fuck is this shit? First of all, let's talk about the graphics. They're just plain terrible. The character models are clunky and poorly animated, and the environments are just bland and uninspired. And then there's the gameplay, which is just bad. The controls are slippery and unresponsive, and the puzzles are just boring and uninspired. And then there's the story. It's just plain shit. The writing is bad, the characters are uninteresting, and the plot is just a mess. And then there's the horror element, which just falls flat. The jump scares are cheap and uninspired, and they just don't scare you. And let's not forget about the voice acting. It's just plain bad. The voice actors are phoning it in, and they're just not bringing any life to their performances. In conclusion, Bendy and the Ink Mansion is just a shitty game. The graphics are terrible, the gameplay is bad, the story is shit, the horror elements fall flat, and the voice acting is just plain bad. This is a game that's not worth your time. I highly recommend avoiding it. Cuphead. Holy shit, this game is amazing. First of all, let's talk about the graphics. They're just phenomenal. The 1930s cartoon style is spot, and the animation is just flawless. And then there's the music, which is just good. The jazz-inspired soundtrack is just fantastic, and it really adds to the game's atmosphere. And then there's the gameplay. It's just pure bliss. The controls are tight and responsive, and the platforming is just a blast. And then there's the boss battles, which are just epic. They're challenging and fun, and they'll keep you coming back for more. And let's not forget about the difficulty. This game is hard as fuck, but in the best way possible. The difficulty is just perfect, and it never feels unfair. And then there's the replay value, which is just off the charts. There's just too much content to keep you coming back for more. In conclusion, Cuphead is just a fantastic game. The graphics are phenomenal. The music is amazing. The gameplay is pure bliss. The boss battles are epic. The difficulty is perfect. The replay value is off the charts. This is a game that's definitely worth your time. I highly recommend it to any fans of platformers or retro-style games. Alright, let's talk about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I gotta say, it's a step up from the first one. First of all, the graphics have improved. The character models look a little better, and the animatronics have a little more detail to them. And the sound is just as creepy as ever. The gameplay is still pretty much the same. You're still just sitting in a room trying to survive the animatronics coming to get you. But there are a few new mechanics that make it a little more interesting. The new mask in work to fool the animatronics is a nice touch. And the different animatronics you have to deal with gives the game a little more variety. The difficulty has gone up a little bit, which is a good thing. The first game was just too easy, but this one has a little more of a challenge to it. The replay value is still there, as you'll want to keep playing to see how long you can survive. In conclusion, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a definite improvement over the first game. The graphics are better, the sound is just as creepy, the gameplay has a few new mechanics that make it a little more interesting, the difficulty is up a notch, and the replay value is still there. If you like the first game, you will definitely like this one. And if you didn't like the first one, this one is still worth a shot. Alright, let's talk about Fortnite. What the hell is this? First of all, the graphics are just lazy. I mean, come on. It's all just cartoonish and blocky, and it looks like a cheap knockoff of Minecraft. And the gameplay, what the hell is that? You just land on this land, grab some weapons, and then fight to be the last person standing. It's just mindless, brain-dead action. And there's no strategy involved whatsoever. And don't even get me started on the building. It's supposed to be one of the game's big selling points, but it's just a chore. It takes forever to build anything decent. And by the time you do, you're already dead. And what's with all the dancing? Why do I have to dance to celebrate a kill? That's just ridiculous. And the whole Battle Royale aspect, just a cheap copy of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. There's nothing original about it. In conclusion, Fortnite is just a lazy, brain-dead, unoriginal piece of shit. The graphics are awful, the gameplay is mindless, the building is a chore, the dancing is ridiculous, and the whole Battle Royale aspect is just a cheap copy of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Stay far away from this garbage.